Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. I got up today and I'm ready to go as usual. I love what I do. If you ever want to have a job that you do for free, or if you ever pick a job that you would do for free, then you'll never work a day in your life. So if you are still young enough where you're still picking your career, but then again, we're all young. In my opinion, if you ain't dead yet, you're still young compared to what you're gonna be in a couple years. Pick a career that you like. I mean, just understand that it is possible to have a career that you like and that also helps you pay the bills. Also, the more you like something, the more you are, the more be good at it. The more likely you are to excel at that thing because you're going to want to keep practicing that thing because you love doing it anyway. And so that's one of the keys to genius is not just having ability, but also making sure your ability is applied in the right direction. But anyway, I was thinking about Tariq Nasheed and Hidden Colors and the new film that he has coming out. He has Hidden Colors 4 coming out. I'm actually in the film, in case you didn't know. And I remember when Tariq came to my house and we talked about Hidden Colors, and and I asked him about the business model. I kind of do what Dame Dash does this a lot too. Like when we go places and we go, meet somebody, he's always curious. He's always like, so how does this work? What's your business model? How did you get your inventory? How did you set up this? How did you set up that? And that's something I think you want to do. I mean, if you're a businessman or businesswoman, as you evolve into an independent entrepreneurial thinker, you want to always have intellectual curiosity. The biggest mistake a lot of people make is that there are so many people out here who just don't value education, who don't want to know nothing, or they want to know all the wrong stuff. They want to know stupid stuff. They want to know what happened on Love and Hip Hop, or maybe they want to know. Or they want to go sort of just scroll through Instagram and just look at all the pictures and the videos or whatever, but they don't really want to know things that are actually going to help them get something done. And I can't make people change that. I can only talk to people who will listen, but I can just tell you that, as I told my daughter the other day, I said, knowledge is power. I said, but lack of knowledge is a lack of power. A lack of knowledge means you're giving power to people who are going to exploit you because you don't know nothing. So anyway, moving on beyond that. So I was talking to Tariq and I was asking him about Hidden Colors and just what that process has been like, and so how much did the first one cost you to make? How much does this one cost? And I don't want to disrespect my brother by giving all the details of a private conversation because I actually didn't clear with Tariq before I could even talk about this. So what I'll do is I'll just share kind of a general thing that I don't think Tariq would be bothered with me sharing this. But one of the things he mentioned that was really interesting to me was he talked about the fact that a lot of people didn't believe that a black man on his own could create such a successful film series. They really believed that black people were truly incapable of doing this on their own. And let me explain just how insulting that is, and why you should be insulted by this. White people produce movies all the time that make hundreds of millions of dollars. They have movies that have produced over $1 billion. So, given that they produce so many films that have made half a billion, $1 billion, or whatever, why would they think it's not possible for a black person to produce a film that makes maybe 5, 6, $7 million? I mean, I don't know how many millions Hidden Colors has made, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was approaching the $10 million mark. It just seems like the copies are flying off the shelves. Everybody loves it, and I just really think it's interesting that there are people, black and white, who truly believe that black people are incapable of literally doing a fraction of what white people have done repeatedly. It makes me even think about when I went to go teach at Syracuse University, and they didn't have any black professors in the entire business school. They hired three of us at one time, which was absolutely horrible because we had no support, no mentorship, nothing. We didn't have any black people around to help us figure out how to navigate that nonsense. But it don't matter. You know me, I'm a survivor. You might kick me and knock me down for a minute, but I'm gonna figure it out and I'm gonna stand back up and I'm gonna fight you. And that's what I encourage you to do. Just, if you get in situations where you're confused or something doesn't seem to work out, have faith in yourself. Have faith that you're an evolving human being. And what does that mean? That means that you can figure it out. You can fight back. If you keep fighting, you're going to get stronger. You're going to get better. You're going to figure some things out. You're going to be smarter after the battle than you were before. So never stop fighting. That's the key thing. And so many black people are scared to fight. It drives me crazy. Anyway, so, going back, I remember when I got that job at that university, and I remember noticing that they hadn't in my department hadn't promoted a black man in like 100 years of existence, and and I didn't expect to be the first. I'm not really the Jackie Robinson type, or the Joe Lewis type. I'm not cut out to be the first black in terms of integration into white institutions, because I don't have the patience to be the first black anything. I am not. I'm not the guy that would be marching with Dr. King. I'm the guy that would be holding a gun with the Black Panthers. So that's why I have so much respect for those brothers and sisters that made so many sacrifices, because many of them got sent to prison or killed, so that we can be free today. And so the good thing is that we can speak up, we can do what we want to do, not everything we want to do, but a lot of what we want to do without enduring the same consequences that they endured. When I saw the way Fred Hampton was murdered by the police when they just ran up in his house and killed him, I saw that and I said, man, I could see that being me back in that day at that time, especially in my 20s. Now I'm still I'm probably more radical, as radical as I was back then. I don't take back anything I've said. I started writing for the public when I was 25 years old, and so this is almost a 20-year anniversary of that. And I don't take back anything I've ever said. I might correct it and modify it and say, I've changed my point of view. I've changed my mind on that issue, but I don't take it back. I'm not afraid of anything I've ever said. I stand by every word. But anyway, digging back into this issue, I remember, noticing that I was the only black person, or they had not promoted a black person before me. And I remember thinking about how when black people get certain opportunities, they always think that, oh, you're the first smart black person to have ever applied for this job, or you're the first smart black person to have ever gone up for this promotion. And that's just not true. Typically, the fact that you seem to be the first, number one, it's an insult to the people that came before you. That's the first thing. I mean, they worked hard just like you. They had dreams just like you. They were ambitious just like you. So you should never think you were the first black anything. We've come from a tradition of hardworking people. But then also, it's a reflection of the flaws of the institution itself. And so what will happen is white folks will try to convince you that you're just one in a million, that you're the only black person on earth who can accomplish this particular thing, and we'll fall for that. I remember a lot of young scholars who really thought that the reason the people before them hadn't gotten promoted was because they didn't work as hard as them, they didn't go to the same schools as them, they weren't as smart as them, they weren't as capable as them. But the thing is, they still treated them the same way they treated the people that came before them, maybe with a slight modification. So the reason that circles back into what we're talking about here is that in that second example I just gave you, like for example in academia or whatever, that's another example where you have a situation where people really believe only one or two black people are capable of doing something that hundreds or even thousands of white people have already done. When I was going up to try to get a certain promotion or whatever on my job, I remember they thought it was a big deal because a black person, was going to be able to do this. Or when I got hired, they thought it was a big deal that a black person got hired. But I remember thinking, why is it such a big deal that I'm the only black person to do this when white people, hundreds or even thousands of white people have done this before me? Thousands of white people have done this very same thing. So the idea that they only believe that there's one or two black people on earth who are capable of doing something that thousands of white people have done for many, many years, that kind of speaks to the fact that they see you as inferior. They really, because if they saw you as equal, they would say, well, thousands of white people have done it, so thousands of black people could have done it. If thousands of black people haven't done it, it's because there's a systematic barrier that keeps them from getting that same access, right? But instead, they will literally believe that there's something that thousands of white men can do and that no black person on earth can accomplish. And that's what I think about when I think about hidden colors. So, for example, and I'm going full circle with this. I know I'm talking a lot about it, and I hope you're following me on this. But with hidden colors, it's interesting because you've had all kinds of white men producing all kinds of movies that have made all kinds of money. 10, 20 million, 100 million, 80 million, 200 million, 400 million, a billion. And yet there are still people who believe that a black man isn't even capable of producing one movie that makes, say, $5 to $10 million. That's very strange to me. That's really interesting. So it means that for white people, they can systematically achieve on level 20. They don't even believe your black ass can achieve on level 1. And so, it just kind of it says, this whole white supremacy thing is real. I mean, it's very interesting. Many of us buy into this too. I know a lot of black people who really believe that we can't succeed without white people. That we really believe that we can't do it. They'll tell me all the time, well, your business can only go so far. You got to bring in everybody. And what they're really saying is you need support from white people. And not that I would reject support from every white person. I don't look for it. I don't actively seek out a white benefactor. I wouldn't hang up the phone if a white person called and wanted to, add some financial support. I wouldn't hang up on them. But I don't wake up on any day of my life feeling like I need a white man in order to support me. And why is that? And that's not a radical statement. White men don't wake up thinking I need Boyce Watkins to support me in order for me to be successful. They don't think that way. Or an African American to give me their financial backing so that I can really make my business go. They don't do that. They don't think about you. They don't need you. They don't care about you. So again, I feel like if you don't care about me, I ain't got to care about you. If you don't feel like you need me, I don't feel like I don't have to actually need you. So with Hidden Colors, I'm really proud of what Tariq has done with Hidden Colors. Again, it's funny. I don't agree with Tariq on some stuff, and he doesn't agree with me on some stuff, and he's even he's critiqued me, and I've critiqued him or whatever. But we're friends, and I respect what he's doing with this film, and I think it's just I don't think it's the culmination of anything. I think it's the beginning. I think that it's the beginning. What I'm really seeing are the seeds being planted for what is going to become a multi-billion-dollar industry. You see, you got to understand, every big industry starts off small. It starts off with tiny little specks. It starts off with people doing little stuff. And then every time there's innovation and there's growth and there's investment. And the community's a part of this, right? Because Hidden Colors wouldn't be successful if black folks wasn't lining up, ready to support. So the black dollar is incredibly important to the development of black industry and black jobs. So if you've, bought Hidden Colors from Tariq or from us or from somebody else, I think that's great. I mean, I think that's a critical part of the process. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that and to kind of just reflect on the lack of confidence that is instilled in some of us when we truly grow up believing that we need a white man's help in order to be successful. You don't need nobody's help. I mean, don't get me wrong. You need your community. You might need your community's help, or your community's there for you, but your community is enough. Your family can feed you without you having to go beg somebody else's family to get what you need to eat. Your children, when they grow up, they will be taught to, hopefully, taught to see themselves as part of a broader collective, part of an economic, spiritual, social, sociological, and political army that allows them to be safe and prosperous in a world where everybody ain't gonna have their back. So you got to do that, because if you don't do that, what happens is you get this stupid integration myth where Negroes just scatter and they just sort of run to the first white man to offer them a job because they feel that they can't make it on their own. Oh, Lordy be, what am I going to do without massa? I need to move to the suburbs so I can be safe. I need to get away from the hood. And so I can go write a book that where I have an audience full of white people clapping for me as I tell them how I came out of the hood and my mama was on crack and I got away from all that. And now I'm the vice president at IBM or something. Man, I don't care about that stuff. That don't mean, don't get me wrong. It's good for you. That's nice. That's wonderful, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? At the same, the problem is we live in a world where it's not a meritocracy. Black greatness is not success, or excuse me, black greatness is not celebrated nearly as much as black assimilation. You see, you're more likely to be rewarded for just kissing a white man's ass than you are for actually being excellent at what you do. In fact, if you're too excellent, especially if you're a black man, if you're too excellent, then they'll boot you out of the system. So when you go through that and you're too excellent and you get booted out of the system, just understand that that's a natural process. Because when you're too excellent as a black person based on a white supremacist model, you're going to be seen as a threat to that system, especially if you have the audacity to speak out against it or to challenge it in some way or something like that. So when you get booted out of the system, what you want to do is have the ability to develop your own systems. That's why building is the most important thing we can teach our kids to do. Stop teaching your kids to go get a damn job. Stop teaching your kids to integrate. Stop teaching your kids to assimilate. Teach them how to build. Because when you know how to build, you don't have to assimilate to nothing. You assimilate to yourself. And the easiest assimilation that you will ever have in your life is assimilating to yourself and who you're meant to be. You will never be as good at being a white man as a white man already is. At best, you will be a cheap substitute, and you will be playing on foreign territory. You'll be a football player trying to play soccer, and it ain't gonna really work so well for you because you'll be playing his game, and he's gonna beat you at it every time. Because not only is it his field, his rules, his referees, his strategy, his sport, but also he's gonna cheat and he'll change the rules the minute you take the lead. Play on your own field. Teach your kids to build a field to play on. Teach them how to build a soccer ball. Then they can play their own game by themselves. And anybody who wants to get in is going to have to come to them and ask for their permission. That's it. Anybody from outside the black community that wants to come and play ball with us in this space is going to have to come and ask for our permission and play by our rules on our field with our referees. Understand this. This is very important. So anyway, it takes just as much energy. It takes the same amount of energy to learn how to build a system as it does to learn how to assimilate. Same energy, just less stress actually, a lot less stress. So anyway, I'm about to get out of here, guys. Congrats to Tariq on a great film, and we are, by the way, selling the film. We actually do have a special offer at the Black Business School where not only do you get the film Hidden Colors 4, which I'm in it, by the way. I'm looking pretty good in it. I'm being silly, but you also get access to a free course in the Black Business School, in addition to 4 free e-copies of 4 of my books. We're throwing them in there because I want everybody to read the different ideas that are out there. And then the other thing is there is a free lecture, an exclusive lecture between Tariq and I. It's about an hour and a half, I think an hour to an hour and a half, where we talk to the students in the Black Wealth Academy about how Tariq went about building this empire. You see, you want to support him and you want to celebrate him, but you also want to study him. You want to study how this brother was able to do it. It's very important to know these lessons, and you want your children to know these things because you want your kids to be free. I mean, you really just ask yourself, I mean, do you really want your kids to go through what you went through? No, no, no. I mean, you don't. You don't. So anyway, if you're interested in the offer, you can go to hiddencolorsbundlepack.com. That's Hidden Colors Bundle Pack. Like, so it's a bundle. So hiddencolorsbundlepack.com. You can check it out. We're only letting people buy 1 unit at a time because the supply is low. So we want to make sure everybody gets a chance to buy one. So you go check it out. Hiddencolorsbundlepack.com. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. I am gone. Please have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.